Zombies? Really? Fucking zombies? Mission 2. Look, I'm not gonna survive long enough to fix my original problem at this rate. Mission 2. We were tasked with exploring an abandoned facility off the coast of Oregon. It had been abandoned for years, but now all of a sudden the security had lapsed. Yeah, totally not a trap. Met up with 3 other agents. Katie, that reporter from the last mission, a German agent named Mueller, and McCleary, who I think was a priest. I'm not sure. I was able to work my magic, though, and get rid of that terrible car from the last mission. And they got us a nice, inconspicuous black SUV. Gotta love government agencies, man. I also got us a boat, which I was excited for. We had to get to an island. It was a dinghy. Whatever. Made it work. Before we left, the researcher was able to get a bunch of information on the island. Though we couldn't find much on what they actually did there. Big surprise. We did find a lot of reports, though, of people going there and just never coming back. So, of course, we went anyways. Can I just say, this is bullshit. I came for help, not to be a sacrificial lamb. Anyways, we made it through the Coast Guard patrols, the mines, yeah, fucking mines, and drone patrols, and got to this island. It looked like you expect it to look. It's an abandoned facility on an island. It's waterlogged, it's dirty, it's mildewy, it's moldy. The whole second floor was gone. We did find an elevator, though. Weirdly, it was propped open with a chair, and the doors were scratched to hell like it had been hit with a crowbar or something. The car was only like a floor down, so Mueller decided that we should take a look. Problem with that is, all we had was a rope, and the only one who knows how to climb is Mueller. Got down to the car, somehow. And then we opened the doors on top. Alright, look. I've seen things before. Seen them up close. But even for me, this is a lot. There was just bodies. Or pieces of bodies everywhere. Of course, we did the only sane thing at that point. We jumped down. We ended up in an office where we found a safe. And the only thing we had to crack it was the crowbar. Big mistake. We found notes and records of what they were doing down there. Project was called Osiris. Yeah, ironic, I know. Headed by a Dr. West, who everybody thought died in a plane crash. No, he never left this facility. They had been working on making a serum to counteract the effect. Alright, fuck it. They made zombies, okay? And I know they were zombies because they attacked us. We did the only thing we could do. We ran. Mueller started hauling everyone up while I covered the elevator. How did I do that? That just doesn't make sense. I almost died for other people. Almost died. Again. Luckily, we escaped unharmed. Look, if you want my opinion, nuke that island. If anything ever escaped that island, we're all fucked. There you go. Hope you enjoy my report. You know what? I better get the help I need soon. Fuck this. I'm gonna take on some R&R. You guys can clean it up.
This will be the official recounting of the events of the investigation, titled Off Limits. Myself, Agent K. Dunleavy, S. Muller, and L. Russ were tasked to discover the history of a now presumed abandoned government research facility known as the Winoka Point Research Center. Preliminary investigations returned little in the way of credible information. The lack of information itself was odd, and yet seemed to have been made to be as inconspicuous as any history around the place could be. We had been informed that one of the primary reasons for our investigation was that the security of this research facility had lessened relatively recently, However, finding any governmental information on what had transpired there over the years proved to be a dead end. Additionally, I would like to include a personal apology for the potential damage of a terminal in the Dmos labs, as I was unaware that I was attempting to access any unrestricted information. Based on my previous investigation, I had thought it best to acquire a new form of defense. Additionally, to that end, I persuaded the investigatory team to make a stop where I purchased a water gun that I intended to use to propel blessed water in the event that the threats were once again some form of unholy creature. While I do believe that the creatures we encounter do in fact fall into the category of unholy abomination against the Lord, my weapon proved ineffective, though that could be due to my poor skill utilizing such an implement. In a brief summation of the history of the location, it appears that the island was renamed around 1987 to Connolly Island, and both myself and Agent Dunleavy were able to find accounts of urban explorers who had disappeared when searching for the secrets of the place. After arrival in the nearby town of South Newbury, we branched out to try and gain more information. I spoke with the head of the local church. It was a Roman Catholic in denomination, so to ease the local father into divulging information, I gave a portion of the services. Much of the information that was given was the same bland responses, but the father did mention not to speak further on the topic, and that further inquiry would potentially have consequences. I do want to note, though, that I did not get a sense that the father was threatening in any way, merely that he intended to extend caution to me while I was in town. Additionally, while sitting there, a later part of the sermon, I did overhear a father tell his inquisitive children not to discuss it or the drones might hear, which led me to believe that at least at some point in this town's history it may have been under considerable surveillance. I also found it prudent to check the local library's microfiche stacks for any potential news stories from around the early times of the facility's use. What I found there mainly were many apparently forged stories, in my opinion, that would suggest a substantial cover-up operation. In addition to those, I located a story of a reporter named Henrietta Krantz. She was from Topeka, Kansas, and she was following up on the possibility that a noted Nobel Prize winning biochemist by the name of Dr. Gregory Dodson was working at the facility during or after his supposed death in a plane crash. She was found having committed suicide by asphyxiation after the story ran. Though her husband had reached out to a local news station and claimed that she did not commit suicide but was instead murdered to cover up the investigation. Notably, he died in a house fire 3 days later, and any documents that may have been stored there were apparently also lost. With research completed, we thought best to wait till nightfall. Agent Muller had acquired a small outboard engine, and Agents Dunleavy and Russ had discovered similar information throughout their collection attempts throughout the day. As I have some familiarity on the water from my youth, I was chosen to pilot the small dinghy toward the facility. Unfortunately, Agent Dunleavy had also discovered some night vision goggles in our vehicle, and we were able to use them to help navigate the mine-filled waters near the island. Agent Russ also noted and prevented us from entering the patrol path of what we later discovered to be a surveillance drone. Once upon the island, we noticed that the facility seemed abandoned. Dilapidated rooms adorn the main floor, and upon investigation, Agent Russ procured blueprints of the facility. Unfortunately, we later determined that they were out of date based on the information that will be explained later. I noticed a splash of colour under some rubble and found what appeared to be the backpack of one of the previous urban explorers. Within were contents that would indicate as such, anyway. Additionally, it is the same pack that was turned into the investigation's record with the recovered evidence should more testing needed to be performed. Agent Dunleavy located an elevator shaft and through the extremely helpful assistance of Agent Muller, we all managed to lower ourselves down to the first sub-level. It is at this point that I should note that my perceptions began to be skewed by my own fear. I'm not great with heights, and while being lowered, I did panic a bit, causing myself to nearly fall, but thankfully Agent Muller prevented that, and I did not sustain any further injury. Once we had lowered onto the elevator though, I did catch sight of what was inside, and the heavily decomposing corpses of what seemed to be facility staff did cause me to become sickly and lightheaded. Though I did not lose the contents of my stomach, the sight alone was enough to churn the insides. We then climbed further down, and as I performed the burial rites for the unfortunate souls that had perished in the elevator, Agent Dunleavy slipped and found herself face to face with the Tesseract that had been down there for some time. It was noted that it had an eerie green glow to its eyes, and the fact that it remained, quote, alive, for lack of a better term, was remarkable. I noticed the small safe, and Agent Muller managed to pry it open. Within, I found documentation and research notes regarding a Project Osiris. The project outlined and expanded upon the research of one Dr. Herbert West, a post-World War II scientist who had been studying reanimating dead tissue. The project outlined the various research that had been conducted, including setbacks on the use of a modified viral strand 012W to allow the reanimation of dead human tissue after death. I believe this was all in an attempt to achieve a nearly unstoppable soldier. However, it was at this moment that we discovered that the rat was missing and the door to the lower levels was being pounded upon by something that we did not know. It was determined unanimously that we should retreat at this moment, and as we made our way to the elevator, it became apparent that we had very little time. The sound of the gnawing hordes, presumably reanimated personnel, became louder and more frantic as Agents Muller and Russ managed to close the elevator doors. Agent Muller climbed out, assisting us all in making our escape up the shaft we entered through. It was just as Agent Russ managed to escape the elevator that the doors burst open and the horde of undead abominations clawed for our flesh. My water pistol of blessed water did not have the same effect as it had on the previous creatures, which caused me to wonder if I was lacking in my faith, or if maybe their eternal suffering in this state was their punishment. Though Agents Muller and Russ fired with their firearms and dispatched some of the creatures, though more still seemed to be coming. As I panicked, I did close the hatch to the elevator, and Agent Muller had pulled me up to the ground floor. Agents Dunleavy and Russ were still in the shaft upon the elevator when the emergency brakes began to slip from the additional weight of the bodies inside. Though dire, Agent Muller managed to safely get them out before the elevator plummeted at least 8 more floors down to the earth. The plans that were initially found, it should be noted, only mentioned 2 subfloors. After exiting the facility and beginning the journey back to the mainland, I would almost swear, in looking back, that I saw those same small, eerily glowing green eyes on the shore. However, no other agents were able to confirm, and as I had stated, my heightened sense of anxiety could have made me see something that wasn't there. All acquired evidence was brought back to the facility, and as noted, I would highly recommend more equipped members of the Dmos facility be sent back to further contain any potential horrors that reside within that cement tomb. This will be the conclusion of my report. Amen.
Administrator's log. Let it be known that one of the members of the board has declared exterminatus upon the Winoka Point Research Facility. The line of death shall never be crossed upon our watch. So mote it be. Tertiary. dispense an echo team to clean up after Logan's R&R.